Hello, and welcome to the Thrive Mindset Podcast. I am so glad you are here with me. My name is Carrie Dahle, and I am your host. I am an entrepreneur, author, podcaster, manifester, and motivator. And I am on a mission to empower you to create the life of your dreams. If you are looking to up-level your life, relationships, finances, productivity, and success, you have come to the right place. I will share with you tools, resources, strategies, my failures, and my successes that have all helped me achieve the life of my dreams. It is my goal with this podcast to help you see your potential and empower you to create the life of your dreams. So let's get to it. Welcome back to the Thrive Mindset Podcast. This is Carrie Dahle. I'm your host, and today I have Andy Anderson on. Andy is a multifaceted individual who has mastered the art of inspiring others through his diverse experiences and achievements. As a TV and podcast host, WBFF pro athlete, internationally published author, and renowned business coach and entrepreneur, Andy brings a wealth of knowledge and captivating stories. Well, welcome, Andy. I'm so excited to have you today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So I really believe that stories are a big way for people to connect with one another. Can we start there? Can we start with your story?
Absolutely. Well, look, it's been a journey. I mean, I'm 37 years old, but I feel like I've been through a lot of ups and downs in business and in life, of course. And so I guess I'll start with my childhood growing up. And I was a carpenter. I sort of left school early around 14, did a carpentry apprenticeship, and then I got really sick and tired of that when I was in my late teens, and just saw the path that a lot of my colleagues were going on in regards to just being drunk all the time, overweight, unhealthy, unhappy, complaining a lot, and I really felt like I was born for more. So I eventually sort of got sick and tired of that, and went off on a journey in the fitness industry to become a personal trainer and to transform my mindset and my energy and my body. And I had a great experience doing that. When I was about 23, I was really quite high up in the gym scene in Australia and in Melbourne, and as a PT doing very well, but again wanted to do more. So I decided to go out and start raising money to open my first business, my first gym. And at about 24 years old, I raised $500,000 for that business, and we eventually opened it right in the heart of Melbourne, in the city of Victoria. And from there, I was lucky enough and worked hard enough to be able to scale that to 18 locations. And then, of course, from there, I opened a bunch of different businesses, went into TV, launched a book, went into restaurants, cafes, bars, a whole bunch of different industries, and now also in an education company. So I guess my entrepreneurial journey has just gone from one thing to the next. Lots of, there's some highs, but there's a lot of lows along that journey as well. And had a lot of failures and a lot of successes, but I guess the main thing is that when you hit those failures, you really understand how to hold yourself, how to think through the challenges, and make sure that you keep going. So that's my really, really quick elevator pitch of my story in life.
That's amazing. Actually, it's very impressive, especially at such a young age, that you became such an entrepreneur. What gave you that motivation and that drive? I mean, I know you didn't want to be like your friends and the road you were going down, but there still had to be something else, right, that was driving you.
For sure. Look, I mean, I think partly my parents, we didn't have a lot of money. We grew up in rural Victoria, in the country, in Ballarat, and we didn't have a lot of money. My parents were always fighting over money. I could never really buy the things that I wanted to buy and have the things I wanted to have at that age. So, from a young age, I always knew that I wanted to have more, I guess, and I didn't want money to be a problem or an issue. I wanted to be able to buy the shoes that I wanted to buy and things of that nature. So, from that level, I was driven to achieve so I could, support my mum, support my family, support myself. And then as you sort of get into the game of business, it's also about what else can you do? Like knowing that you've got so much to give, such a huge amount of impact to deliver to the world. And also just the challenge of getting in the arena and stretching yourself and figuring out problems and driving forward. Every problem, every achievement, to me, it's like a badge of honor. And I get really excited about figuring things out and doing things that a lot of people can't do. And so, a little bit of healthy ego in there, I think, as well to drive it forward. But yeah, look, I think that's basically what initially drove me to risk it all and put it all on the line.
To me, it sounds like you have this massive abundance mindset. And I think coming from your history, that's really impressive. Did you always feel like that? I mean, did you always feel that out there, even though you didn't come from abundance?
Yeah, look, that's such a good question. I think later on when I understood what abundance really was, it resonated with me big time. I've actually got it tattooed on my wrist here, abundance.
I love that.
It really just helps me remember when I get into scarcity mentality or get into fear or anxiety. I always look down at that just to remind me that there's plenty. You don't need to stress. It's always going to work out. But I think initially I always had the mindset that I could do anything, that anything was possible. I had that feeling that magic was real and that I could create magic. And that was, really special to me. I don't know why I had that. I think my mum always said to me I could do anything, and I probably just believed her. Maybe that was part of it. But I think that as you then move forward and you start to get little wins on the board, you start to believe it more and more and more. And those little stacks, those little bricks of confidence become greater and greater. And that self-belief then can carry you to do things that you originally couldn't do or that other people just can't do. And so I think that's really important as an entrepreneur and just as a human that's striving to do more and be more in general is to savor those wins and savor those bricks of confidence to help carry you to the next one. Even when you get knocked down and a few of those bricks get sort of smashed off the perch, you need to believe that you can rebuild that confidence and believe that it's there. Otherwise, you stop trying and you end up giving up. So to answer your question, I don't know exactly where it came from, but I feel like my mum had a little bit to do with it. My dad probably had a little bit to do with it. And then there might have just been a bit of naive confidence in there as well.
No, it's beautiful. I love that. Honestly, I think that's how a lot of people manifest. They do just a little bit at a time, and then they realize, wow, I can actually do more, and it just comes and keeps coming and coming, and that's awesome. One of the things I love though is that you use change because I use Thrive. So can you tell me a little bit about that and what that means to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I mean, a lot of my businesses are about change, transformation, helping people change internally, externally, mentally, physically, emotionally. And I think it's just such an important part of everyone's life. Most people are afraid of change. I believe that you need to embrace change in order to move yourself forward. And my original gym chain was Ultimate You Change Centers. My new fitness business is called Change Labs. And basically any business that I get into is really about growth and transformation. So look, change is really important part of my life. I thrive off change and love the process of change. And that's why I've sort of branded a lot of what I do around change and the game changes and pretty predictable at this stage. But I think that it's really empowering. It's really inspiring. And it just means a lot to me in general. So that's sort of why I've used it as branding. Yeah,
you use change in everything.
Yeah, well, that's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Sounds like you have I want to say no fear because everyone has some fear, but you embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I mean, look, I'm still scared of a lot of things and I have a lot of fear in a whole bunch of different areas. But again, I think that the best version of you or the ultimate version of you is always on the other side of the fear that you have. So I try to embrace it as much as I can. And sometimes it takes me a while. Sometimes I can do it immediately. But, it's one of those things that I've just learned to attack as much as I can. One of the recent things that I've done that always scared the shit out of me was skydiving. And that was always a big fear of mine. So heights has always been a big fear. I guess a bit of story around that was that I had always wanted to do it just because I knew that it was the thing that was holding me back the most. I thought, if I can do that, I think I can do anything. Like I just could never see myself falling from the sky and not shitting bricks. I just thought it would be absolutely terrifying. And I didn't even know if I could do it tandem, coming off, having someone around me and jumping out of a plane. So for years I thought about it and I challenged a lot of other fears, but I was producing a TV show over here 2 years ago. And I thought to myself, if I can do it on national TV, there's no way that I'll pull out. I thought that'll be the ultimate accountability to make sure that I actually follow through with this.
Love that.
So Yeah, so basically I organized it on the TV show. I had to rope everybody into it so they could feel the pain with me, which was great. And then I did my first jump on TV, and that was awesome. And I was so surprised because on the show, I looked like I wasn't scared at all, but I actually was really scared inside. Got out, flew off the plane. But when I was, falling and when the parachute popped, it was the best experience I'd ever had. I thought it was just magnificent and such a good metaphor for so many things in life. And then after that, I thought to myself, I think I can do it on my own. I think I can learn to skydive. So I booked myself in for a week course and did 25 jumps solo in a week. And it was freaking terrifying. It was really scary. I remember one day I nearly pulled out. It was when we had to learn to sort of nosedive out the back of the plane. You weren't allowed to sort of look up. You had to look at the ground and dive out like you were diving into a swimming pool. And it was so freaking scary. And the night before I was pacing. I was like, fuck, what am I doing here? This is mental. I don't know if I can do it. And then I don't know what made me do it, but I dragged myself there, really nervous, end up doing it. And I was so freaking proud of myself. I'd never been that proud of myself before, to be honest. So I think those things are so important to push yourself through, because the feeling of pride and self-significance and self-love that you can get from pushing yourself to do things that you really didn't think was you, it's mind-blowing. And that's changed a lot for me, to be honest. It's really given me a lot of confidence a whole bunch of different ways. So look, I think challenging your fear is crucial in every way, whether it's just having challenging conversations with your partner, which can be scary enough, or, maybe you want to do things like go to the checkout and ask for a discount to face your fear of rejection, or maybe it's skydiving, whatever it is, make sure that you're doing just little things every single day to keep yourself courageous and strong. And I promise you that'll overflow into so many other areas of your life.
I bet you can use that now for coaching. What an inspirational story, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For sure.
Yeah. So speaking of coaching, what is your favorite? What are your favorite things to encourage people with, or your favorite tools to give them to get over the humps in life, to keep going?
Look, I think initially it's perspective. I go a lot into business coaching these days, and I love helping people with mindset and business, just because that's where my real passion is. And it's funny when you're in business, it's so easy to get overwhelmed with complexity and to get bogged down in the nitty-gritty, and rather than sort of getting perspective at a high level and really, I guess, taking a breath and understanding where all the pieces are truly sitting. And so perspective is always one of the first things that I go to, whether that's perspective on progress or perspective on their achievement, or perspective on, who they really are within the business. And I think that's a really good way to get clarity first and foremost. And then helping them reframe problems and see them as opportunities, not see them as negatives or red lights, see them as opportunities and gifts, and to ask better questions around that as well. Just such basic, mindset tricks or hacks or, philosophies, whatever you want to call them. But it's basic thinking patterns that just help shift you quickly when you get stuck down in such negative and I guess stuck places, especially in the business game, because there are so many things coming at you all of the time, whether it's family or the news or the economy or your staff or, the finances or cash flow. It goes on and on and on. So being able to utilize simple things like that, perspective, reframing, asking better questions, is always the foundation to just help my clients move forward and get out of stuckness as quickly as possible.
That's beautiful. So who inspires you?
Great question. Look, I think that so many people inspire me, to be honest. I'm always looking for inspiration. I love to be inspired. Really, it motivates me. I think, look, I've got some great mentors, number one, that I always search out. I often pay them a lot of money to inspire me or yell at me, whatever works at the time. And then I love reading biographies. I don't know if you read many biographies, but geez, I just always get so blown away when I'm at a bookstore, I'm reading a biography, or I'm looking on Amazon, and you think these epic, unique individuals have made billions of dollars or done these crazy adventures or achieved things that are just mind-blowing, and they've put all their thinking and strategy and experience into a $9 book that you can download and read and absorb over and over again. I think, isn't that just insane that you can tap into stuff like that? So that inspires me a lot. I read a lot of biographies. and I love them. And I then often, I actually don't have them in my office currently, but in my old office, I had a wall full of all of the faces of the biographies that I'd read, just to remind me of the adversity that they had faced to get to where they are. So whenever I was sitting in my office, pulling my hair out, getting stressed, feeling sorry for myself, falling into victim mode, whatever it may be, I just look at my wall and just remember to harden up. And if they can do it, I can do it. We're all human. We all have the same potential. It's just that some people behave a little bit differently, think a little bit differently. So what do I need to do to rise up to that? And so I get really inspired by that. And then also, on a daily basis, I get inspired by my clients. I get inspired by how coachable they are and how quickly I see them solve problems. And sometimes I think to myself, shit, I wish I listen to myself as much as you listen to me. That's incredible. So, those things inspire me every single day. But I think it's so important for everybody to hunt down inspiration and be inspired by fellow entrepreneurs, fellow men, fellow women, because that really does help keep you focused and motivated to push on.
Yeah, for sure. I love that you're inspired by your own clients. I think I think it's motivating and it's exciting and it shows your passion for them. And that's why, at least I see you being successful, is because this isn't about you winning or being great yourself. This is about other people. And to me, that's when excellence shines.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that. One of the things that I encourage all of my clients is to develop a morning routine. So, and I'm sure you have one. I feel like most of us do. What is yours?
Yeah, great question. I normally, I've done this routine for like 15 years basically, and I probably will keep doing it as long as I live. Seems to work well. If I can improve it, I always look for improvements. But first of all, I have a coffee. That's just got to be done.
Well, I don't know what life is without it first.
Thank you. A fellow coffee lover. Love that. I knew we'd get along. And so I have my coffee in the morning. I go straight into vision and goal setting and gratitude and affirmations. And so that's really important for me to sort of set myself up mentally and emotionally. I love to pull out my vision board on my laptop. I've got like a slide deck of my vision for the future, now and future paced. I go into my vision and I do a bit of, you can call it prayer or manifestation, however you want to frame it. But I close my eyes. I think about the future, the vision, but I don't think about it in like I don't have it. I think and feel as if I do have it, like it's here right now. And I try to get the butterflies going in my stomach and touching myself there because I try to feel it here and feel into it and say thank you. And I pray on it. And then I just go over my affirmations and my written goals and just make sure that I know who I am and where I want to go. And that's really, really important. The affirmation /code is really important for me to remember who I need to be right here, right now, in regards to character, in regards to boundaries, in regards to standards, so that I can step into that quickly. It's so funny that no matter, for me anyway, no matter how long I practice this stuff, if I don't do that for a few weeks, you sort of forget how to operate as sharply. You start to lose your edge with your boundaries, and it's easier to fall into other people's agendas or easier to fall into other people's time frames rather than you controlling your world and your life and time. So for me, I always check into that every morning. And then afterwards, I go straight into a workout, whether it's cardio, jiu-jitsu, or a weight session. I need to move my body before I start my day and go into my meetings. So that's normally the process, but it always starts here first and foremost.
That's very similar to mine. I'm curious, though, when you talk about gratitude, for me, gratitude, it involves journaling. It involves writing it and listing it out. Is that how yours is? Or is it more just meditating on it, thinking about it?
Yeah, so I write my goals and I try to feel the gratitude for those goals. So, sometimes I might just do, random gratitudes and sort of go all over. But normally in the morning, I'll do it around my goals and what I want to achieve, whether that's, the business building, cash flow, my relationships, all of those factors. And so then I try to feel gratitude immediately for that. Like it's right here, right now. I have it with me. And I love that feeling. And it's so powerful, isn't it? Like it's such a crucial tool to manifesting. But it really does start your day in such an incredible way, rather than, again, like we spoke about before, it's starting with abundance rather than scarcity. And, how you set up your day usually is how you end it.
Yeah, for sure. Do you use gratitude when you're struggling with like negativity versus being positive day? Because obviously positive energy draws things to us. We all know that, but there can be times like we have rough days, bad things happen. So do you use gratitude in those moments to bring it back around? Or what do you do?
Sure. Yeah. Well, again, the process that I normally go to is, first of all, I feel it and I notice that I'm either getting anxiety or stressed or whatever it may be. And then I go straight into trying to ask a better question to shift my focus. And I ask the question, what's the opportunity here? Rather than focusing on why is this happening to me? Why is this problem coming up? Why are they an asshole? Whatever it may be. Sorry about swearing. Hopefully you can beep that out.
No, you can swear all you want.
Oh, beautiful. Perfect. But I ask that question, what's the opportunity? And then from there, I figure out the actual set of opportunities. Then I get grateful about those opportunities. So I usually then focus to the opportunities, get grateful like I do in the morning, like I can tap into that now, and I bring those opportunities mentally and emotionally towards me or to me, feel grateful for those as a way of, tapping into a better emotion, but also in a way of manifesting. And then I move on to try to get those opportunities in place rather than have them over there. I want them over here. So that's usually the process I'll go through. Admittedly, it doesn't always work. And I think it's important to understand that we're all human and it takes practice and time to nail that. I often get people saying to me, "Oh, you're always just so positive. How do you do that?" And when I was with my ex-wife, people would always ask her, "Is he really like that, or is it just fake? Like, is he really positive?" And I'd always say, "I'm just like you. I feel completely shit some days as well. I'm not always positive. Some days I find it really hard to find those opportunities. But the more that you practice it, the easier it becomes. And I guess the quicker you connect the dots as well around what opportunities actually are and how to find them. But if you're not putting yourself in that arena every single day or every single opportunity, it's going to be harder and harder for you to step up and be grateful and find opportunities and see the gifts rather than always looking at the negative. So I think if you're listening to this and you're trying it for the first time, you just need to practice it and get over yourself a little bit. You may not nail it the first time, but keep trying to find the gift, the opportunity, then feel the gratitude. And if you can practice that and get better at it, it becomes one of the greatest weapons that you can have in your arsenal of moving forward to success, whatever that means to you.
Oh God, you speak my language. So thank you for doing all that. I love it so much. So speaking of opportunity, what are you working on now? What is your next big thing?
Yeah. So look, I've got a lot of fun projects on at the moment. We're doing a lot of amazing things with Relentless Education. Me and my amazing business partner, Matt Lavaz, we're building out this incredible tribe of entrepreneurs, coaches, service-based business owners. And we've got so many good clients. We've got some big events coming up. We've got new programs launching, and we've got a free challenge that we've just launched as well. So we're really excited about that. A lot of success, a lot of people making money, a lot of people just overcoming mental and emotional challenges in the program. So loving that. I've got a new TV show in the works at the moment here in Australia. So we're working on pre-production of season 2. So that's going to be really exciting. A lot of moving pieces with that, which is fun, but always awesome. And then with Change Labs, my fitness brand, we've got a new app coming out. We're working on acquiring some gyms at the moment and just working on a few different things in the fitness space there, some equipment and a whole bunch of fun stuff. So, yeah, look, I've got a great team around me, awesome business partners. I'm super blessed in regards to the people that I attract in my businesses and in my life. And the projects are keeping me busy. Definitely challenging, but a whole lot of fun.
Most of that is in Australia, or do you have, I mean, obviously apps are worldwide, but most of it's Australia, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Most of them are in Australia at the moment. We are actually looking at a few gym acquisitions in the US at the moment. I can't say too much about that until it's sort of done, but hopefully app and a few fitness centers in the US soon enough.
But you do have your book. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know I can get that here. So
yeah, awesome. So my book, The Ultimate You, launched many years ago now, I believe. I can't even remember the year I launched. I think it was 2018, 2019. It was a massive journey getting that book off the ground. Wrote that book rewrote it about 10, 20 times. If you're thinking about writing a book, I don't know if I should even recommend it. I don't know about you. Have you written a book, Carrie?
Well, I have several written. Have I gone anywhere with them? No. I mean, I'm such a writer. I'm such a journal. That's part of my story at some point. But no, there's that there's that hump to get over, right? There's so much to do.
Jealous. I wish I was like you. Writing for me is just, it's so hard for me to sit down. You've probably noticed I move around a lot, and I've probably got ADD, undiagnosed. But, for me to write that book, it was actually super painful. Had to sit down, obviously, and I wrote it. I wrote a first version of it. Initially, I called it The Art of Change, and that's what I actually pitched to the publishers, etc. initially, and then had to rewrite it and really refine it with them, and then we ended up changing the name and changed the book. Anyway, it was a long journey. It was crazy, but it was such a good experience, and was lucky enough to get a publishing deal with the publisher in New York. Launched that a few years ago, and it's been phenomenal. Just a great tool to, I guess, help my clients shift their perspective. It's all about my story and my journey, a bit of biography, as well as mindset techniques in there as well, and some strategies, some ways of thinking. I feel like it's basic enough for people to wrap their head around quickly, but I feel like it's really powerful. And so it's helped a lot of people. I get great feedback on it. And so if you're listening and you want to check it out, have a read. I hope you enjoy. And hopefully, if I can sit down long enough, I'll bring out another book one day. I might have to get your mentoring on that, Carrie.
Well, I don't know. I can write it. I don't know if I can finish it, but
there you go. Yes. Yeah. Well, I can help you. I'll help you with the end stage, and you help me with the start.
Okay.
Perfect combination.
There you go. Yeah. That's really actually kind of funny, because do you have any take on like personality tests or human design or anything like that? And I'm only bringing that up because most recently, the last couple people I've had on, they've had totally opposite takes on this. And it's been just this like yin and yang and thing. And I'm so curious now, like all the time, I'm like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? So I'm curious.
For sure. Look, I mean, I think there is truth to a lot of them, a lot of the different techniques. And so, I'm definitely I don't know all of them well enough to dismiss any of them at all. And I've also found truth in a lot of the ones that I've found, not always complete accuracy, but, truth enough, or at least a direction to go down. I've studied a little bit of eDisc in my time, which I really enjoyed that personality test. I'm a high D, high I. So I don't know, what do you, Carrie? Have you done that?
I'm
test?
a DC, but I have a lot of I in me as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So I find that really useful with hiring and with my staff, and with sales staff as well. I find a lot of accuracy in that. And so I think they're wonderful. I think they're great tools. I probably should study them more. I used to study them a lot. I haven't in the last few years, but I found eDisc really, really helpful previously. Astrology and star signs. Who knows? Like sometimes I feel like they're super accurate. I think it comes down to who's actually, like anything, right? It's like who is actually reading it, who is utilizing it. Do you know it well enough? So, potentially, but I think there's a lot of value and potential gifts and opportunities in all the methods if you know them well enough and can connect the dots.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I'm kind of learning through it, watching people do this, is that it really is just information, and it's information that can be helpful, and you can maybe learn something about yourself and take what works for you and what doesn't, and go with that. But like you said, I appreciate the disc as well when you're talking about engaging with other people and communication, and just recognizing, oh, that person thinks like this, so I need to go this way with them. And that's huge, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One, I guess it's not really a personality type, but you've probably heard of the 5 love languages. Yeah. I found that so helpful in relationships. That's really quite game changing when you think about people, even business partners and friends, utilizing those frames. It's quite interesting. So, again, a different take on personality types and looking at it in a different way. But again, so useful when you consider other people's frames of the world and I guess the lens that they look through in life.
Yeah, it's all fascinating. I mean, we're all such different creatures. We're all, thank God we are.
Yeah, exactly right. Sometimes it's frustrating, no doubt about it. I'm sure my partner says that a lot about me. She often looks at me and she's like, "We are so freaking different." I'm like, "Yeah, yep, absolutely. Just don't think the same." But again, that's what, opposites attract. I think that's what keeps life interesting. And, like you said, if we were all the same, we wouldn't be able to run dynamic teams. We need different personality types for different roles, different styles of achievement. It's pretty amazing. So well worth digging into and learning.
If you were to speak your younger you, or even somebody similar to you now, but 20 years ago, what would you say to them? What would you encourage them to be looking at, to be pursuing, to change in their mindset so that they could propel themselves faster?
I would absolutely say dedicate a lot of initial time to learning how to handle your emotions. Learn how to handle stress and overwhelm first and foremost. I just feel like, again, that's so basic. And I don't even know, why don't we learn this in school? Why don't we get lessons? Can you imagine if we had a syllabus around understanding emotions and handling stress and adversity? Again, we wouldn't be quite easily as manipulated and controlled, which is probably why we're not taught this, but I'm against the conspiracy theory around that. But again, I think that in regards to learning that, it will change the game for you. If you are motivated, if you want more for your life, if you want to do more, be more, give more, love more, you inevitably are going to hit points of overwhelm and stress. And then when you do, you're either going to default back to negative and go deeper into a hole, learn to be not confident, learn to be more negative, or you're going to learn to challenge yourself to push through or stay calm under pressure. Again, this is, one of the reasons why I like to do jiu-jitsu and sort of martial arts and skydiving. It's because if you don't stay calm under pressure just before you jump, or, you've got a 120-pound dude smothering your face, if you don't stay calm, you're going to either pass out or again, you won't jump, or you'll pass out in the sky. Not cool. So again, these things are really cool ways of training yourself to just keep you cool, stay calm, keep your head together. And again, that translates to business and to relationships. How many times have you lost your cool in a fight with your partner? How many times have you lost your cool in a business situation where it didn't go your way, or, stress and pressure, financial pressure was taking over, and rather than taking the right action, which, needed boldness and courage, you hid from the world and you didn't take action at all. You were paralyzed. In those situations, they will define your life. The success of that, the character that you have, the things that you will achieve. So, I think that if you can learn to manage emotions, manage stress, and overwhelm, wow, it will change so many things in your life. And again, such a basic thing. And again, admittedly, I need to work on that more. I'm sure you do, Carrie. I think we all do always, because no matter how much you learn and practice it, you need to understand that ability or capacity to manage and handle that, you're renting that on a daily basis. You can't buy it. It doesn't just stay with you. You need to pay your dues daily to keep that skill. And so as soon as you neglect it and you stop paying rent on that, you're going to actually lose it. And it's easy to fall back into bad, negative patterns. So, it's one of the things that I focus a lot on these days, especially after all of the COVID shenanigans, and I had to close a bunch of businesses. It was a very stressful time, but it really showed me, I guess, my true self in the worst period that I could go through. I had a marriage breakdown. So just to shine a light on some negatives and some adversity that I faced, because I've only talked about, I guess, the good things. But, through COVID, I had to close a lot of businesses. We had a 3-year lockdown in Victoria, which is the longest lockdown, the harshest lockdown in the world. No country in the world had a lockdown as long as that. So I had to close restaurants, cafes, gyms. We lost a lot of money. I had a divorce during that time, or just before and during, and I'm still really good friends with my ex-wife or business partner still. But, whether that's the case or not, a lot of adversity and change was taking place. And for me, it was a test. It was such a test to tap into, am I really that dude who wrote a book? Do I believe the shit that I actually wrote here? Do I believe the stuff that I say on podcasts and that I actually tell clients to do? Am I that guy? And so it was an opportunity for me to step into my higher self and flex that muscle more than ever. And look, there were moments where I wasn't my best self, but the things that I'd learned and taught and practiced over the years helped me get back on that horse so much faster and overcome a lot of the self-doubt, the fear, the pain, the victim mentality, the victim mindset better than I ever could. And what that gave me was the ability to keep moving forward. Even when I was feeling really down and moments of, not depression, but depressed, or feeling, sad, feeling loss and grief. Oh my God, I've lost all these things and whatever it may be, I was still able to function. I was still able to create new businesses, to get the TV show happening. I was still able to work through and perform at a high level, even when I was feeling so many crazy emotions. And so I'm so grateful that I could step into that. And because of that now, I look back at that and I think, wow, if I could still do those things during that time and feel like that, because it was not a good feeling, then I know I'm fine. I can do whatever I want to achieve in the world. And so that was me in that moment thinking, what's the gift? What's the opportunity? It was hard to see it. But in my mind, one of the gifts was, this is me practicing Spartan mentality. This is me practicing and proving to myself that I can push through. You know, when I'm always up telling other people to step up and push through no matter what and believe in themselves, can I do the same? And thank God I did. Just enough.
It sounds like more than just. But that's fantastic advice for somebody, that they have to get over being they can't let their emotions control them. And I mean, not that we can't have emotions, but to get control over them is huge. And I mean, that's kind of funny, just because my son and I were bickering earlier, and he was telling me, he's like, I'm not talking to you about this. I'm talking to Dad. You've got too much emotion. I'm like, okay, which is really funny, because actually I'm like, normally you gripe that I don't have enough emotion, but today I've got too much emotion. But he's right. I had too much passion, and so I love that. It's in everyday life, right? You've got to get over it. And so also, how brilliant. I mean, what if our schools, like you said, what if they taught that? Maybe we would have such better mental health in this world, and such, maybe our kids would be in a better place.
They absolutely would be. And I mean, I think we need that more than ever, especially with social media and the way we like that. The comparison game the kids are playing now is so freaking scary. My brother's got a beautiful daughter, Sophia. She's gorgeous. She turned 4 yesterday. Love her so much. And I get really worried about how she's going to respond to social media growing up. It was hard enough for me as a kid. I don't know how kids are, looking at their friends and all the negativity online and the trolling and comparing themselves, and what that does to them mentally and emotionally, and the overwhelm that they face. So right now we need it more than ever. This is why, people like you, Carrie, and people that are invested in mindset and health, mental health, etc., are so important, because it's not happening in our school systems, in our education systems, the way it should. So you need to look for it in places outside of the norm. And so it's out there. And I guess if you're a parent, or if you yourself are looking for something, you got to search for it. You got to find it. It's not going to be sitting on your lap at school. It's going to be online and looking for mentors and looking for individuals that teach and preach this sort of mindset and philosophy. So don't settle. Don't think that you have to accept what's just in front of you. Go out and find people to inspire you and learn a different way, because if you do that, your whole world will change.
Absolutely. 100%. We're talking about education. So I'm curious, did you go beyond high school? Did you go to college?
Yeah. So my school journey is not super inspiring, but it's so funny. I got invited back to my
because you didn't.
There you go. So I actually left school when I was 14 because I didn't like it. I was a bit naughty, bit of a rebel. It wasn't really focused. I just wanted to be a rock star. That was my dream. I like music and I wanted to be a rock star. And I thought, I can't do that yet. So I might as well go off and do carpentry, be a builder, so I can make money. And my dad had just died when I was there at early end of my 14th year or 15. So, we needed more money in the family. So I just went off and got a job, and I was working, playing music. And it wasn't until a little bit later on that I started loving reading, and I wanted to learn more. When I got into fitness and decided that I wanted to be healthier and, I guess grow my thinking capacity, etc., I started just reading a lot more. And reading changed the game for me, audiobooks specifically, and then normal books. And that was a game changer for me. And so I left high school super early. I went back to university for 1 semester to learn entrepreneurship. And when I was there, I had a mentor within the school, and I was actually learning online marketing from Rich Sheffrin and some of these epic online marketers that have been around for a long time. And I'm learning all this cool digital marketing stuff. And then I'm learning marketing at high school. And I'm like, wow, this is so backwards. This is not even relevant to what I'm doing right now. I said this to my mentor, and he said to me, Andy, some people are meant to be at school and some people are meant to be out there building businesses. He goes, you're meant to be building businesses. Get out of school and go raise capital and build that gym. So I did, and that's when I went and started raising money for my first business. So look, from a traditional standpoint, I haven't had a great track record with school, but I'm obsessed with education. I seek out mentor after mentor, course after course, book after book. And funnily enough, my high school invited me back to do a speech, a few months ago for the year 12s. I don't think they realized I didn't finish high school, which was so funny. And then they actually got me up on stage. I'm talking to the year 12s they're talking about all my achievements. And they're like, so how was your year 12? And I'm like, I don't know if you looked this up, guys, but I actually didn't finish school. And it was quite funny, hilarious. But, it shows you that, school is impactful, but you do not need to go through the traditional systems in order to achieve and be great and do awesome things. You can learn from others. In fact, I think that hacking the process and finding specific mentors in specific areas is such a great way to stay focused, learn quicker, and get faster wins on the board to move you forward. So that's been my journey anyway.
I'm so glad you shared that. That was where I was hoping you would go, just because I feel like, I'm a big supporter of universities. I'm a big supporter of schools for certain purposes, right? But It's not for everyone, and it's not for every kid, and it's not for every adult. And there's so many other ways out there. And I just think it's great for the world to see that and others to see that. So I applaud you for all you've done.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, it's so important. I think personality types come down to it as well. Some kids are just not meant to sit down for 8 hours a day looking at a chalkboard. There's boys and girls that need to get out there and feel and move and, do things and learn in a different sort of way. And they are freaking important. Those were our warriors back in the day. Those are the kids that would be gladiators getting out there, saving the world. So we need all different learning styles. We need all different types of humans. And if you're not great at sitting down, like me, get out there and get creative. Try different things. Learn to write, create stories, be creative, businesses. I love numbers and math to a certain degree now. But at high school, I couldn't connect the relevance. And if it didn't seem relevant to me, I'd just be like, no comprendo. I don't need this. Why would I learn it? Now, I take accounting courses and I do all this stuff online because I see the relevance and I'm excited and passionate about the results that I'll get from that. So I also think that in school, if they found better ways to connect the relevancy to kids' dreams at that stage, they would have much more success of, keeping people at school and sitting down and learning. So look, we could get into what they should do all day long. I'm not a traditional educator, so I know they've got a tough job. I know there's a lot of rules and regulations, but, if you are listening, there's so many options, kids and adults out there. It's never too late to learn anything.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Is there anything we haven't chatted about that you really feel is important we should share today?
No, I think we've done a good job. I think we've gone over a lot of cool elements. I love what you do, Carrie. I think that you do such a good job, and I hope that people got some inspiration from the podcast and the lessons. And I guess any final wisdom or advice is just don't freaking give up. As cliche as that sounds, again, going back to the COVID experience, through that period, so many times I could have just laid down and gotten a job, for example, or just run away and just given up on everything. But, I kept saying to myself, you're a fighter, you can keep going, you've got to get it done. And on the other side of this is where your real greatness is found. Like the real version of you is only on the other side of adversity. The best you can never be found before adversity. It's impossible. You got to walk through the fire. You've got to feel the pain, the sadness, the ups and downs of life to become a true forged warrior, truly great human being. And if you read any biographies like I've described, you will see the tale in all of their stories. No great king, no great warrior, no great entrepreneur, no great artist has not gone through tragedy, stress, adversity. That's actually I think that's the secret antidote to success. You need that little bit of adversity to truly create success in your life. So don't give up. If you're going through it, please look at the gifts. Stand on the shoulders of giants and see the path that they've walked, so you understand that you are on the right path. And then just keep freaking going, no matter what. often you can't see the next step in front of you. But if you just take the leap, I promise you the pathway is there. So I hope that helps someone out there, because that's really just what got me through the last, the 3 years of COVID. And it's helped me get everything back on track, build businesses, come back mentally and emotionally stronger than ever. And I really hope that helps someone else.
Andy, thank you so much for being here today. Where can people find you? Where can they find you on social media? What can we put out there for you?
Awesome. So look, a lot of my time is spent on Instagram. So you can check out Andy_I_Anderson. Or if you're interested in the business coaching and the stuff that we do here at Relentless Education, you can go to www.relentlesseducation.com.au and visit me over there.
Perfect. Well, I will definitely be sharing that in the comments below. And thank you for being here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie. Appreciate you.
Yeah. What a great interview today with Andy. He is an amazing inspiration and just truly a great guy all the way around. I hope you all liked today's podcast. And if you did, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, get the word out there. And above all else, remember that I believe in you and you can manifest the life of your dreams.